Welcome to NYNJPA Weather, your weather source for the Northern Mid-Atlantic. I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. We're going to start this morning with the water vapor satellite picture. We have a few interesting features on the satellite picture this morning. The first feature, of course, is our upper level low over the western Atlantic that continues to sit and spin and will continue to influence the weather pattern over much of the East Coast through the end of this week. Now we are on the backside or western side of this upper level low, which means that winds are converging at the upper levels, and basically what that produces is convergence and then sinking of the air, which limits any precipitation and basically produces rather tranquil weather conditions for much of the East Coast. And that will continue on through Friday. Meanwhile, we have another upper level low starting to develop. It's cutting off over the southern plains and will continue to slowly move east towards the Tennessee River Valley by the end of this weekend. And I'll talk about that upper level low later on, as that upper level low will have a significant impact on the weather pattern going forward for next week. The visible satellite picture this morning shows clear skies are clearly in place throughout much of eastern Pennsylvania, actually all of eastern Pennsylvania, and western New Jersey into the Hudson River Valley. However, clouds start to increase as you move towards the coast, and especially over Long Island and Connecticut. These clouds are the result of our upper level low, and a few isolated showers will be possible under these clouds. However, for the most part, I expect a lot of these clouds to start to break up as they are low clouds for the most part. We do have some high and mid-level cloud cover as well within this cloud shield. So clearly we're going to be ending up with scattered clouds over much of Connecticut and Long Island with temperatures in the 60s. However, as you move towards the Delaware River Valley, temperatures will be in the lower to mid 70s for highs this afternoon. I would not be surprised if much of eastern Pennsylvania is in the 72 to 75 degree range for highs. So clearly we are ending up with a very pleasant day of weather for this afternoon. What about the rest of the week? Our surface map clearly shows high pressure that is anchored over northern Quebec and Newfoundland will continue to build south into the northern Mid-Atlantic and down towards the southern Mid-Atlantic. This low pressure system off the coast will start to slowly move east, and as a result, I'm expecting clear skies for the entire northern Mid-Atlantic for tomorrow afternoon and Friday afternoon. Still keeping the threat of an isolated shower in the forecast, just to be safe, especially for those of you around Long Island and eastern Connecticut. But for the most part, it's going to be an excellent day of weather for Thursday and Friday, and into Saturday afternoon actually as well, with temperatures averaging near normal with highs in the upper 60s to mid 70s. So clearly we are in a very pleasant weather pattern once again. However, trouble is brewing out to the west. As you can see, several areas of low pressure starting to develop and start to form what will be a very powerful upper level low over the Tennessee River Valley. So let's jump ahead to Saturday evening. This is from the European model guidance from the Penn State EWOL. And as you can see, a cold front will be approaching the northern Mid-Atlantic on Saturday evening. Now this cold front is going to be losing a lot of strength because the majority of the lifting will be focused more towards Quebec and Newfoundland as the upper level trough starts to split and a new upper level low starts to develop over the Tennessee River Valley. So what we're basically seeing here is that a surface low is developing over the southern Ohio Valley and portions of the Tennessee River Valley in response to an upper level low developing over the Tennessee River Valley and parts of the Mississippi River Valley. Meanwhile, our cold front is moving east through New England as a result of the rest of the trough further north over Canada moving to the east. So what we end up with is a weakening cold front that moves through on Saturday evening into Sunday morning with a few scattered showers. And by Sunday evening, our cold front has stalled out off the New Jersey coast, and we have our area low pressure basically just sitting over parts of West Virginia and southern Ohio as our upper level low develops. Now, because of the orientation of this stationary front, what we have is a northeasterly wind coming off of the Atlantic. You have some lifting due to this stationary front. The majority of the forcing at the mid and upper levels will be focused more towards the Ohio Valley as this upper level low develops, but we'll still see a threat for scattered showers on Sunday because of the location of the stationary front. Now here's where the pattern gets rather interesting, where I think the models are having some issues on exactly where this upper level low develops. Notice on what the European model guidance is trying to do. It has one area of lifting over the upper Midwest and another area lifting over the Southeast. What this is basically telling me is that the models really aren't sure exactly where this upper level low is going to set up and basically spin and produce showers and thunderstorms. In this case, in this solution, what we have is an upper level low that's elongated and a southeasterly wind coming off of the Atlantic at the mid levels and upper levels, which drives a tremendous amount of moisture from the Atlantic into the northern mid-Atlantic. Combine that with a stationary front off the coast, and you end up with a chance of a lot of rain falling over parts of New Jersey and basically the New York City and Philadelphia metropolitan area, which could lead to significant flash flooding due to rivers already being significantly stressed. Think of the Passaic River, the Raritan River Basin, basically not a pretty situation. But notice some of the details in this upper level pattern. You see how the upper level heights here kind of kink out over New England, and you see this purple shading off to the east of New England. This is an upper level ridge in response to the upper level low. This ridge could be further south if this upper level low is focused further south, which means that instead of rainfall, we end up with a high pressure system overhead, variable cloud cover, but dry conditions. So where this upper level low sets up is going to be extremely key. Another important point here is that notice that we have a deep trough over the west coast and our polar jet streams well to the north into Canada. So what this is basically telling us is that this upper level low is going to develop, cut off, and spin over either the Mississippi River Valley or the southeast, and where that upper level low finally sets up will basically remain there for several days because there's nothing to kick this upper level low out, and also will have a significant impact on our weather pattern. If this upper level low is further south and west or further south than what we're seeing here in this model guidance, then we end up with basically a dry, quiet week of weather where temperatures are actually near to slightly above normal in the mid to upper 70s for many locations, because you have air sinking towards the surface and sinking air warms. However, if our upper level low sets up, let's say right around Virginia, then you have a nice southeasterly fetch right off the Atlantic, and you end up with a wet, raw, and cool week of weather. Location matters, even in meteorology. And just to show the surface what happens if this upper level low sets up just right, we have our stationary front set up. We have a tight pressure gradient because of a high pressure system well to the north in Quebec. So what you end up with is a strong easterly fetch at the surface, drawing in Atlantic moisture, a strong southeasterly fetch coming off the Atlantic, drawing in moisture at the mid and upper levels, and you have plenty of lifting along the coast because of our stationary front and disturbances moving through. So this is a recipe for a very wet period of weather for early next week. Again, if this upper level low forms further south, then this whole pattern shifts to the south and east, which means our stationary front is further out in the Atlantic. Our high pressure system over Canada is a little bit further south, and we end up with dry conditions like one would expect over the eastern Great Lakes and Ohio Valley on the model guidance today. So we're going to have to keep an eye on exactly where this upper level low sets up and how it develops. Thank you for trusting in NYNJPA Weather as your weather source for the Northern Mid-Atlantic. I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. Have an excellent day.